it, you will feel better if you support something you believe in. If you believe in the work we do here at WNYC and all that we offer, make a contribution. You'll feel good about supporting something that you value. And we're just asking you to do that at whatever level is comfortable for you. 888-376-WNYC or make a pledge at WNYC.org. And thanks as always.
WNYC supporters include Focus Features, presenting Alexander Payne's The Holdovers. 4 students get left behind with their least favorite teacher over Christmas break, starring Paul Giamatti, rated R, and select theaters Friday.
Marketplace is supported by JLL, a commercial real estate company striving to solve today's complex commercial real estate challenges. Learn more at JLL.com. See a brighter way.
2 words, people. Artificial and intelligence. Oh, wait, a couple of more words. Billions and billions of dollars. From American Public Media, this is Marketplace.
Marketplace is supported by Odoo, focused on providing all-in-one open-source business management software with fully integrated applications for every business need. More at odoo.com. And by Charles Schwab. Schwab believes every investor deserves to work with a firm they can count on, with financial consultants ready to serve clients and 24/7 live help.
In Los Angeles, I'm Kai Ryssdal. It is Wednesday today. This one is the 25th of October. Good as always to have you along, everybody. Without putting too fine a point on it and setting aside just for a moment the really scary bits of AI, artificial intelligence is a business proposition, and Wall Street is still trying to figure out how it feels about it. We now have in hand the latest earnings report of 2 companies worth together $4 trillion. Alphabet, a.k.a. the corporate behemoth formerly known as Google, and Microsoft, a.k.a. the corporate behemoth formerly known as the company that brought you the Zune. Remember that? Anyway, Alphabet reported $77 billion in revenue the past 3 months, but Wall Street today was none too pleased. Shares off more than 9%. Traders were, however, much more excited about the 29% jump that Microsoft saw in revenue for its cloud computing division, which is very much tied up in its AI plans. Shares there, up 3%. Microsoft and Google have, of course, been rivals for a while now, and of late, Microsoft does seem to have been on the offensive. Marketplace's Matt Levin gets us going.
In the early 2010s, Microsoft launched an anti-Google ad campaign called Scroogled.
Don't get Scroogled. If you can't trust their app store, maybe you shouldn't trust Google for anything. Try Bing.
It didn't work. Once the scrappy upstart, Google grew to an estimated 90% of the search market. It then used those ad dollars to threaten Microsoft with free products like Google Docs and Google Sheets. So in the wake of ChatGPT, Microsoft has one word on its mind:
revenge.
Ken Gorelski is a tech analyst for Wells Fargo.
Microsoft relishes its position as the challenger. For many years, it faced the scrutiny of being the leader.
Back in the late 90s, Microsoft was the cutting-edge tech giant facing an antitrust lawsuit from the federal government. That hurt its ability to invest in other businesses. It was Google that was acquiring startups like YouTube and Waze. But Scott Kessler at the investment research firm Third Bridge says starting a few years ago,
we've seen kind of a role reversal. Alphabet, I think, was more the subject of this legal and regulatory scrutiny.
So Google scaled back a bit on the acquisitions. Meanwhile, in 2019, Microsoft struck a deal with OpenAI, the makers of ChatGPT, which is now integrated into Bing. Brent Thill is with the investment firm Jefferies.
Their partnership with OpenAI has given them a huge advantage, and they are leading the pack in both revenue, mind share, and market share.
Even beyond AI, Microsoft has more diversified revenue streams than Google does. There's Windows, obviously, also Microsoft Office, video games, but Thill says no one should count Google out.
Talk to anyone in the AI industry, they'll say the biggest vendor that they fear the most is Google.
He says Google just hasn't figured out a way to make money from their AI yet. I'm Matt Levin for Marketplace.
Yet. Wall Street today, tech overall kind of got beat up. The broader market's beat up as well, just less so. We'll have the details when we do the numbers. We learned this morning, thanks to the Census Bureau and the Department of Housing and Urban Development, that sales of new single-family homes, that is, homes that have just been built, to be clear, those sales were way up in September. 759,000 of those sales, 12% more than in August, 34% more than a year ago. And with so few existing homes for sale, used homes is another way to think about that. A whole lot of prospective buyers are looking at new construction, and builders are offering incentives to help close the deal, as Marketplace's Samantha Fields reports.
At the end of last year, Clark Ivory was getting really concerned about his business. He's CEO of Ivory Homes, a building company in Utah. When interest rates spiked,
we just saw traffic go to almost nothing and sales really dried up.
Now, though, they're in a much better position.
We sort of found our footing. We figured out what we needed to do to buy down interest rates to make it still affordable for people.
Today, they're able to offer mortgage rates around 6 or 6.5%, much better than 8. Allie Wolf at the housing data and consultancy firm Zonda says a lot of home builders are working with lenders to offer lower mortgage rates or offering money toward closing costs or other incentives.
Builders will say, hey, we have $50,000, for example, and we will let you use this $50,000 however you want.
A lower mortgage rate or closing costs, maybe a fancier kitchen. Clint Mitchell, a builder in Indianapolis, says his company, Estridge Homes, just started offering incentives in the last month as mortgage rates got closer to 8%. They're also doing buy downs, but only on some of their homes, ones that are already done. And he says it's bringing people in.
We haven't had very many that actually have taken the incentive that we've been offering because they've chosen to build, but it has caught people's attention.
Not all builders are able to buy down mortgage rates, says Logan Motoshami at Housing Wire.
Smaller builders don't have the money that the big publicly traded builders have. They can't offer the buy downs. They don't have the profit margins to do so.
But for those that can, like Clark Ivory in Utah, it makes financial sense. On a $500,000 loan,
typically we're spending $25,000 to $30,000 to get rates where we want them to be, but it's far better to do that than it is to discount $80,000 to $90,000, which is what you'd have to do to get the same payment.
And it's definitely better than not selling the home at all. I'm Samantha Fields for Marketplace.
Let's do the numbers. Yeah, the Wawas today. Dow Industrial's down 105 points. That's about 0.3%. Finished at 33,035. And yes, 0.3% is not enough for the Wawas, but hang on to your hats. The Nasdaq down 318 points, 2.4%. 12,821. The S&P 500 down 60 points, 1.4%, 41,86. We heard from Matt Levin about some of the tech stocks dragging that Nasdaq into correction territory. That happened today. It closed more than 10% below its most recent high, but do not fear because markets go down too, people. That's what happens. Anyway, in other tech news, Apple announced it would raise the monthly cost of its streaming service. Apple thus down 1.3%. Its price hike follows those of rivals Netflix, which lost 0.6% today. Also Disney, down almost 2.4%. Bond prices were down too. What happens then? Come on, you know the answer. Yields go up. 10-year T-note 4.95%. You're listening to Marketplace.
Marketplace is supported by Amazon Business, helping provide a smarter, easier way to get the supplies businesses need to thrive. Amazon Business, your partner for smart business buying. And by KeyBank. With access to some of the leading cybersecurity experts, Key is dedicated to helping clients keep their data safe. Get insights to help protect your business from online attacks at key.com/cybersecurity. And by C3 AI. C3 Generative AI provides ChatGPT enterprise search that is verifiable, secure, and accurate across all enterprise data. Learn more at c3.ai. This is Enterprise AI.
You're listening to WNYC. Good evening to you. I am Sean Carlson. I'm host of All Things Considered here on WNYC with WNYC Program Director Jacqueline Sincata. Marketplace is a great time to talk to you about our fall pledge drive here at WNYC because I suspect, and this doesn't apply to everybody out there, but you know I'm talking about you if I'm talking about you. You tune into Marketplace every single night, right? It's appointment listening for you. You know every night at 6:30, Marketplace is going to be here. Maybe you say, oh, it's 6:30 when I hear Kai Risdall's voice. That's my time to start making dinner. That's my time to start whatever it may be. We all have those triggers, right, about what certain things on the clock mean for us. I know you're here for programs like Marketplace and All Things Considered, Morning Edition, and everything here at WNYC. The great part about it is that it's made possible by you. It wouldn't be here if not for you and the contribution that you make to this station. This is our fall pledge drive here at WNYC, and truly, we rely on you in the same way that you rely on Marketplace to be that alarm clock for you when it's time to start making dinner. We rely on your financial contributions to make this happen. And we are covering some pretty important stuff. Not just WNYC, but NPR, BBC, all of these things are happening 24 hours a day. It's made possible by those contributions. So think about that for a second, and then you can get back to dinner, I promise. But think about how much you value that. Put a dollar amount to that, and then call and contribute that to WNYC right now. 888-376-9692 or WNYC.org.
888-376-WNYC. Thank you so much if you've already made a contribution to support us during our fall fundraiser, whether it's in the pre-drive or in our first few days of the drive. We really value and do not take for granted one donation. So thank you for recognizing the important role you have in keeping WNYC here on the air for you and for the entire community. I want to shout out to Evan, who in New York City, who wrote with his pledge, have spent a great deal more for a great deal less. WNYC is more than worthy of a monthly donation. Couldn't imagine a day without WNYC. Evan, thank you so much for recognizing the important role that you play in our being here. You count on us. We count on you. You came through. If you haven't made a contribution, if Marketplace is your appointment listening, as Sean mentioned, please support it now. We have to pay a hefty bill to bring Marketplace to you on the air. Your contribution helps us pay for it. 888-376-9692. Pledge online at WNYC.org. And here's some information about something else you might get.
Need a break? Like a real break? How about a weekend getaway at a Victorian castle in the Catskills? The kind where you kayak across a glacial lake, or where you have drinks on the sunset porch after a relaxing walk through manicured gardens. Sounds nice, right? Well, right now, when you become a member of WNYC, you just might get that break, because you'll be entered to win a 2-night stay at the historic Mohonk Mountain House, a retreat that's far away from it all, yet still feels like home. You and a guest will enjoy farm-to-table meals, evening entertainment, and a stunning 360-degree view you can't get in any city. You'll relax, and you'll feel good knowing you support the station you care about, WNYC. So don't wait. Enter to win a 2-night stay in Mohonk Mountain House by becoming a member now. Here's how.
Become a member by calling 888-376-9692. You can also go online to WNYC.org. When you do go online to enter to win those 2 nights at the Mohonk Mountain House, think about the gifts that WNYC sends when you contribute at certain levels. One of the ones that we want you to think about is the Eton Crank Radio. It's really cool. It literally is a crank. I know I'm going to drive around crazy with this noise. Literally crank. That's what it is. And it powers the radio. So you don't need batteries. You don't need to plug it in. You can bring it anywhere, whether it be camping. Maybe you're hiking out at the Mohonk Mountain House in the ground, the beautiful grounds there, whatever it may be. It doesn't need batteries. It doesn't need to be plugged in. You can use it when the power goes out. Contribute to WNYC at a level of $15 a month. We'll be happy to send that to you. And you will also be entered to win those 2 nights at the Mohonk Mountain House. 888-376-9692 or WNYC.org.
What is the right amount for you? What is the level that fits into your budget that reflects your usage of WNYC, how much you value this public service? Is it $10 a month? Is it $15 a month as a sustaining member? Is it a one-time pledge for the first time of $50? Hey, that is great. If you can make a $5,000 pledge, that's great too. We need donations at every level in order to continue to bring this public service to you. So think about what you can do, what fits into your budget, and then please make that donation at wnyc.org, and maybe you will be the lucky winner of that getaway to Mohonk. Thanks so much.
This is Marketplace. I'm Kai Ryssdal. It has been a bit of a dance getting the EV market off the ground in this country. And more often than not, that dance has been 2 steps forward, 1 step back as consumers and car makers try to decide where they are on electric vehicles. This week, the dance has just been 1 step back, full stop. GM said it's going to slow production of 3 of its EV models and that it's going to scrap a deal to develop affordable EVs with Honda. Affordable being the key word there, because even though prices have come down and the federal government is chipping in with rebates, the road to affordable mass market EVs is long and bumpy. Marketplace's Elizabeth Trovall has that one.
Internal combustion engines have been making cars go since the late 19th century. What that means in economist speak?
We've got tremendous economies of scale.
When you make a lot of something, you can make it cheaper. And Michael Robinette with S&P Global Mobility says for EV manufacturing, there's enormous effort and capital involved to get those economies of scale, which is why news about GM didn't take him by surprise.
It was always going to be what we call lumpy. It was going to have spurts and stops.
It's hard to build up new supply chains of EV things like batteries and e-motor systems. And forget about turning profits right away. With new car technology, it can take a while, says Gil Tao with UC Davis.
There is no money making if you count the EVs they were selling this year. You need to think about it as an investment that will be paid back in 10 years or even more.
This is how the business works. Yale University's Kenneth Gillingham says, consider the Toyota Prius, a groundbreaking hybrid which lost money for years.
And then it turned out to be a very, very profitable vehicle.
He says EV prices today are set with initial losses in mind.
They're trading off how much money are we willing to lose in order to really gain some market share and gain some brand credibility in the EV space.
That doesn't mean new EVs are affordable, with prices averaging well above $50,000. Though Jessica Caldwell with auto research firm Edmunds says new gas vehicles aren't very affordable either these days.
The percent of new vehicles sold under $20,000 is practically zero.
And pricing aside, she says consumers are also facing high interest rates, and a lot of the folks who were enthusiastic about EVs have already bought them.
And we're kind of hitting folks that have to be sold on EVs.
Meaning charging infrastructure has to be in place before the average person starts driving one off the lot. I'm Elizabeth Trovall for Marketplace.
Everybody likes a park, right? Nice, calm, green spaces, a break from the daily grind. So stipulated. The catch, though, is inflation. With construction costs higher and city budgets not, it is getting trickier for municipalities to prioritize and thus build more parks. Patrick Sisson wrote in Bloomberg City Lab the other day, though, about low-budget parks and how cities are investing in them. So we called them up to talk about it. Patrick, welcome to the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Kai.
Tell me about this park in Hayward, California that you start this piece with, and what makes it so special just cost-wise.
Well, yeah, basically parks of this nature, it's a linear park. It runs alongside a very busy road, Mission Boulevard in Hayward. And typically parks of this size run about $50 or $60 a square foot for design and development. Mm-hmm. The company that did this, Surface Design, managed to do it for $750. And the reason they save so much money is because they reuse materials. They actually scavenge stuff from construction sites, old fallen trees, reuse those as benches, and figured out how to significantly reduce the cost of this park. The landscape architect for the city was really doubtful they'd be able to do it because you just saw the budget shortfall, and they managed to make it work.
They had to get creative, shall we say, because of those budget shortfalls, right? And this isn't just Hayward, it's cities and municipalities all across the country.
Yes, parks are facing a lot of the same economic challenges that every sector of the economy has faced over the last 3 years. Costs have been rising significantly. Everything from steel to playground equipment to installing bathrooms, doing landscaping, not to mention labor costs have really shot up, which is making it really hard to maintain and build new parks.
What does this park look like? I mean, if you drove by on Mission Boulevard in Hayward and you look to your right or your left, I suppose, what would it look like?
Yeah, you'd see a long winding path with gravel on either side, a lot of old redwood trees that had been cut down and turned into seating. You know, it was a park before, but it just, you know, didn't get sort of that tender loving care, was really used a lot for dog walking. Now it's really come alive and it's become much more of like a community gathering place and sort of a resource.
Yeah, well, we should say, you know, parks aren't just for dogs, right? I mean, it goes to mental health. It goes to also, oh, by the way, climate change and urban heat islands and all of that.
Yeah, I mean, as a lot of us discovered, especially during the pandemic, you know, parks are really a resource for so many things. And, you know, more and more research comes in every day about the benefits of parks in terms of mental health, as you mentioned, cooling effects, resiliency in terms of absorbing water and climate change. So, you know, the need and demand for parks has really exploded over the last couple of years.
I wonder how big a challenge it was for the folks in Hayward, but also elsewhere in the country as they try to do, you know, nice parks for less, managing people's expectations, right? Because you could see somebody saying, wait, I want a really nice thing, not a cheap thing.
Yeah, right. I mean, and this is really important. The idea is not like quick, fast, and easy because you want something that really lasts, right? You know, what really should be the goal here, especially when you talk with a lot of advocates, is creating parks and expanding networks so everyone has access. The Trust for Public Land has this 10-minute park campaign. And the idea is to create a park within a 10-minute walk where everyone lives. Right now, 1 in 3 Americans doesn't have that.
Yeah, that seems kind of extraordinary, actually. 1 in 3 Americans doesn't have a park within 10 minutes.
Yeah, right. Parks are green space. Yeah. And I mean, you know, there's a lot of ways, though, that you can do this without having to necessarily expend a ton of capital because, you know, creating a new park requires land and that can be very expensive. You know, you've seen a lot of programs in cities, New York City, for example, but many others where they're opening up city playgrounds. This has been in existence for a while and has really caught on and really helped increase that access.
Yeah. Patrick Sisson at Bloomberg City Lab, writing on parks and low budget parks, to be clear. Patrick, thanks a lot. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
This final note on the way out today, Bitcoin, while still well below its record highs, is having something of a renaissance. The OG cryptocurrency was back above $35,000 for a hot minute today. But number one, consult your own financial advisor. Number two, do not put crypto in your retirement account.
Marketplace is supported by Amazon Business, helping provide a smarter, easier way to get the supplies businesses need to thrive. Amazon Business, your partner for smart business buying.
All right, we got to go. Here's your moment of economic context. Saw this on CNN, some data from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau about credit cards in this economy. The CFPB says cardholders were hit with $105 billion in interest on their credit card debt last year. Now you know why we give you the 10-year every day, right? 4.95% today. Our media production team includes Brian Allison, Jake Cherry, Justin Dueller, Drew Jostat, Gary O'Keefe, Jeff Peters, Charlton Thorpe, Juan Carlos Torrado, and Becca Weinman. I'm Kai Risdall. We will see you tomorrow, everybody. This is APM.